Containing the coronavirus outbreak is a race against time, a race that doesn't seem to end anytime soon. What exploded 3 weeks ago at a seafood market in Wuhan has now become a collective battle for the world. But is this a lost battle already? And is China's chaotic response to blame for this? We've been tracking this story from the ground, and tonight we have more exclusive reports and the latest updates for you from China and the world over. We're starting with the biggest headline that emerged today. The coronavirus could infect 60% of the global population. 60%, that's an awfully big number. It's 2/3 of the world population, and this is according to Hong Kong's leading public health epidemiologist. This is Professor Gabriel Leung, the man who played a crucial role during the SARS outbreak. He has now sounded an alarm. He says the cases so far may just be the tip of the iceberg. The worst is yet to come. He says when China's massive lockdowns have not worked, what good will these mobility restrictions do in other countries? According to him, instead of containing the virus, the world will have to work to mitigate its effects. And the effects, I can tell you, are deadly. The death toll from this virus is way more than the 2003 SARS outbreak. We've been saying this for a while. 108 new deaths were reported in just the last 24 hours. 108 deaths in 24 hours. That's the biggest leap in a day. The world over, more than 1,000 people have died, and this number could increase by the time I conclude this report. What about those infected? That figure stands at 42,638, and this is just in mainland China.
现有确诊病例37620。
Currently, there are over 37,000 confirmed cases, among which at least 7,000 are severe cases. There are altogether 4,000 cured cases and 1,016 deaths. The cumulative number of confirmed cases is over 42,000, out of which over 1,000 are suspected cases, and we have also traced 400,000 close contacts.
42,8438人。
Now to a question that we've been asking for the longest time. Where is the paramount leader of China, President Xi Jinping? Well, the Chinese state media would make you believe that he is leading the people's war against this epidemic without naming him. He was finally spotted visiting hospitals. Finally, he was in Beijing. He was boosting the morale of medical workers there. This is what China wants the world to see. Take a look at this.
菜价怎么样？菜价现在还行，非常时期就不握手了。但是咱们呢，但是你一定要有信心，没问题，一定可以克服这场疫情，一定能打赢。祝你们生活愉快，身体健康。好的，好的。在这里呢，我代表党中央向你们，也向全国的抗击疫情战斗中的 医护工作者致以崇高的敬意和衷心的感谢。
Well, it took him 3 weeks and multiple media reports, beginning with ours, to finally come out. We will eventually win, says Xi Jinping. How are the Chinese people reacting to such gestures? WION correspondent Patrick Falk gets us this report from Beijing.
President Xi, as we know, was seen yesterday in Beijing going to visit patients and going to visit a disease prevention control center. That was an important visual for people in China to see. There had been some discussion going on in China that President Xi didn't go to Wuhan City himself. He sent Premier Li Keqiang to do that several days ago. And in fact, the president has been mostly out of sight for the last couple of weeks. So it's important for him to be seen here, particularly because people are still feeling very raw about the death of Dr. Li Wenliang. He's been a symbol, if you like, of the political missteps that have been made, and that's created a backlash for the central government. And President Xi Jinping has needed to go out there and show a softer touch, if you like, and go and see people, and for people to see that the central government really cares and concerns for people as a result of this outbreak.
And now to something that China does not want the world to see. The epicenter of this virus, the city of Wuhan, which is still under lockdown, In April 2018, we aired gravitas from this sprawling financial hub of China. 2 years down the line, the coronavirus has turned life upside down in the city. Here's a glimpse of how much has changed. In the 1930s, Wuhan was the capital of China. It was described as a cosmopolitan metropolis. It has seen wars, it has been razed to the ground, and it has risen phoenix-like almost. And look at this bustling town today. It's a tier 2 city technically, but if you look at the skyscrapers, if you look at the skyline, the city center, the roads, the infrastructure, and if you compare it to an average Indian town, you will see the difference. You will see how far China has come in this race. So we're going to take you on a tour to Wuhan to see what the Indian delegation can take back as it looks at some things that it can learn from the Chinese. Come with me. The magnitude, the scale and the pace of this outbreak is unprecedented. The crisis in Wuhan is showing itself in the unlikeliest of ways. One report claims that sulfur dioxide emissions have reached alarming levels in this city. Now, there's a map on your screens. It suggests that due to high number of cremations in the city, the sulfur dioxide levels stood at a staggering 1,350 micrograms per cubic meter this weekend. What is normal? The normal level is a concentration of 500 micrograms. This was 1,350. We could not verify the authenticity of this report, but a lot is happening in this city and in this country that is virtually shut from the world. So do not be surprised if you hear horror stories later. WION, by the way, has also tied up with China's state broadcaster CGTN for bringing you the most comprehensive coverage on the coronavirus. Here's their correspondent, Yunfei Zhao, reporting from Wuhan.
So far, the mass transportation is still suspended here at the epicenter. All the outbound lanes going outside of Wuhan is all being shut down. And actually, you have already seen the effectiveness because other parts of China, other parts of Hubei province, we see there's 6 consecutive days of lower infection rate. But within the epicenter, situation is still severe. So the government is trying to further tighten its measurement to further quarantine people for both the diagnosed cases and suspected cases.
Meanwhile, in Beijing, another global giant has fallen. Airbnb has been forced to suspend check-ins until March. All bookings have stopped. Refunds for existing ones are being promised. This is the latest company to feel the pain of the coronavirus outbreak. We told you how Apple has temporarily shut its stores. So have Facebook and Google. Most of their offices are closed. The story of smaller businesses is much worse. They have hit China's firewall. They're struggling to get customers. Listen to this.
Right now, the epidemic has a severe impact on our business. Over in my storeroom, the products I have in stock now, all of it gets produced in the mainland and then it is shipped to Hong Kong for installation. Now, if the products that were manufactured last year in the mainland gets used up, I'm not sure if our business can make them. We wouldn't be able to source the raw materials, and this is what makes me really worried.
What about India? How bad is the situation in India? 3 confirmed cases. They're keeping health officials on their toes. All 3 have been reported in the state of Kerala. Thermal scanners and handheld thermal detectors have been placed at 21 airports. Most cities are tracking down returnees from China. In the national capital, 10 people have been isolated due to suspicion. In addition to this, India is leading efforts to contain the outbreak in South Asia. Clinical samples of the virus from abroad are being tested in India. Offers have also been made to neighboring countries, including Pakistan, to help them evacuate their citizens from China. So far, 600 Indian nationals have been evacuated, but there's one Indian doctor who has decided to stay back. He's voluntarily working in Hangzhou. His name is Dr. Amish Vyas. He was in the US when the virus was first reported late in December last year. Now, China is facing an acute shortage of medical professionals. So Dr. Vyas traveled all the way to China without fearing for his life. He did not board the Air India evacuation flight from Wuhan. We asked him why. We also asked him what the situation is like now. This is what he told us.
So we are providing food or I am working for a public hospital, and this hospital is just we are doing all the doctors from all over the Hangzhou city